Hey, everybody. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie After. Before we get started, hit the like button and subscribe. It may only be a click for you, but it has a significant impact on the channel. This love picture opens with a girl named Tessa starting her first day at a new college that is a little distance away from her home. Her mother Carol and boyfriend Noah drop her off at the college dormitories. When Tessa arrives, she is introduced to two cheerful and talkative girls called Steph and Tristan. Carol smells cannabis and decides to leave, but Tessa follows her and begs her not to make a scene. Tessa swears to manage the situation and reassures her mother that she can trust her. Her mother, proud of her maturity, bids her farewell and wishes her success in college. Noah also sends her go with a beautiful kiss before leaving. As Tessa enters her room, Steph wonders if she was able to terrify out her mother. Steph mistakenly comments on Tessa's brother's cuteness, but Tessa quickly corrects her, revealing that he is, in fact, her boyfriend. She awakens the next morning, full of excitement. She enthusiastically walks into her classroom and is pleasantly delighted to see a boy called Landon inside. Landon is an English major, whilst Tessa studies economics. Tessa is delighted to meet Landon and is looking forward to her classes. Later, when Tessa returns to her dormitory after a soothing bath, she discovers a man called Hardin sitting inside, calmly reading. Tessa is surprised to see the man in her room and requests him to leave. Hardin assures her not to worry because he is not staring at her. Just then, Steph appears and confirms that he is their friend. Tessa asks Tessa to the party, but Hardin is certain she will not attend. As he goes, he spoils the finish of Tessa's novel, The Great Gatsby. Tessa is studying in the library when she unexpectedly runs into Hardin. This interaction makes her anxious, and they momentarily exchange looks. Later, Steph approaches Tessa and invites her to a party that evening. Tessa initially refuses to attend the party, but eventually chooses to alter her mind. She chooses a dress, but Steph finds it too formal. They eventually get at the party, where everyone appears to be having a good time. Tessa is surprised to see her brother, Landon. Subsequently, she is introduced to all of Steph's friends at the party. They encourage her to have a drink. Tessa is initially apprehensive, but eventually decides to take a chance, especially after one of the females in the group comments harshly about her. The group agrees to play a game of truth or dare. When it's Tessa's turn, she picks the truth and is asked about the strangest place she's had a love encounter. Uncomfortable, she declines the inquiry and opts for a dare. Hardin approaches Tessa and asks if she wants to do anything, but she is done playing the game and walks away. She phones Noah, who scolds her for refusing to do it. Hardin is astonished to see her drinking, so she quits the conversation. Later, she visits the storage room to look at the books. Hardin approaches her again, asking what she is seeking for. Tessa is concerned that he is intoxicated, but he assures her that he does not drink, exactly like her. He explains that this is his room and takes her hand. He asks if their dare is still on, and as they were about to kiss, she stops and says she can't do it, leaving. Later that night, before going to bed, she receives a text message from Noah. The next day, she goes to class and sits alongside Landon. It is revealed that Hardin, who attended the party, is a new student. During class, the lecturer poses a question about a romantic novel. Hardin believes that love is essentially a transaction, and that everyone is predisposed to seek specific characteristics that can be turned on and off. Tessa, on the other hand, disagrees, pointing out that the ladies in the book rejected the man when he treated them cruelly, which she finds incredible given the time period. Hardin sees her after class and tells her how amazing it was before departing. Tessa then complains to Landon about how pompous Hardin is. To her amazement, Landon confesses that Hardin is truly a relative. Hardin's father is dating Landon's mother, but their relationship is tense, and they can barely stand each other. Later that night, Steph decides to get a tattoo and invites Tessa. While talking, Tessa discloses that Noah is the only person she has ever dated, and her mother believes they will marry one day. Before heading to bed, Tessa notices Steph sharing intimate moments with her girlfriend and hastily casts her gaze away. The next day, Hardin approaches Tessa in a coffee shop. He professes his wish to begin a relationship with her, but Tessa refuses to start over and be friends, citing their mutual acquaintance Steph as the reason. Hardin recommends showing Tessa a place, but she prefers to keep her distance. However, she eventually decides to join Hardin. They drive a few miles to what seems like a jungle. As they continue going, Tessa's gaze is pulled to a vast lake. Hardin admits that this is his favorite spot and proposes they go for a swim. He undresses and dives into the water, inviting Tessa to join him. He offers her his t-shirt and looks away as she puts it on. In the water, Hardin gently guides Tessa, and they both begin to enjoy themselves. Tessa asks Hardin about the person he loves the most, and he says it is himself. He then inquires about her lover, and discovers that he is a high school student who adores her. Hardin shows Tessa how to hold her breath underwater and introduces her to the concept of silence. Throughout their relationship, Hardin treats Tessa as if she were a valuable, forbidden diamond that he had discovered. Tessa notes that Hardin indicated a desire to be friends, but he clarifies that they can never simply be friends. They then exchange passionate kisses. Hardin then averts his attention to give Tessa space to change, but she instead touches him, and they begin to have personal moments together. Every touch Tessa received from Hardin made her breath quicken, heightening her anticipation. Later, they decide to go to a pub together. Tessa questions Hardin about his history, but he chooses not to answer. When she questions why he doesn't believe in love, remembering the incident in class, he tells her not to accept everything he says, while also making her laugh. Meanwhile, Steph and another friend of Hardin's join them at the pub, making Tessa laugh. Hardin then asks Tessa why she does not believe in love. She is astonished that Tessa did not chase after her husband, despite the fact that Tessa was not his true love. Tessa eventually reveals to Tessa that everything they've been doing has been great, but he doesn't date, which disappoints Tessa because she was about to tell her boyfriend about their connection. Hardin is unhappy as well when Tessa departs. Later, in her room, Tessa awakens to discover Hardin sitting next to her, but finds it was all a dream. The next day, she is surprised to see her boyfriend standing outside with flowers. She can't believe he's there. Tessa and Noah visit a party that night, and Steph and her friends advise playing the suck and blow game. Tessa discovers that Hardin is furious about his father marrying Landon's mother, while his own mother lives in deplorable conditions in London. Hardin breaks a glass out of fury, injuring Tessa when she tries to clean up the mess. Hardin brings her to his room and apologizes for his prior actions. He acknowledges he is a mess, and Tessa understands she is also dealing with her own problems. This mutual weakness sparks a series of brief romantic interactions between them. They eventually end up sleeping together in Hardin's room for the night. Tessa runs into Noah, who is very concerned for her. Just as Noah observes Hardin standing nearby, he recognizes what is going on between Tessa and Hardin. Noah is disturbed by the event and hastily flees the location. Tessa, dejected, comes back to her dormitory, looking sad. Steph takes notice of her emotional state. Tessa has a profound sense of loss and is unable to express her emotions. She is quite upset during her lectures and attempts to contact Noah. One day, she unexpectedly says something, and they decide to talk. Hardin is surprised to see her. Tessa begins to tell the story of her father's departure when she was just 10 years old. Her mother struggled to cope with the anguish, and Noah was there to support her. Tessa explains that Noah is more than a lover to her. One day, Hardin persuades Tessa to linger in the library past closing time. He reads a book as she sits on his lap. They are apprehended by security, but laugh as they flee together. It becomes an unforgettable experience for both of them. Tessa and Noah will be together for the rest of their lives. Before she leaves, her mother urges that Hardin destroy Tessa's heart and cut her off. Later, Tessa tells Landon about the encounter, but he believes Hardin is a difficult guy. He tells her to use caution. Despite the warning, Hardin takes Tessa to a home owned by a friend of his father who is now in Italy. Hardin offers they live together in this location. Since Tessa's mother has cut her off, Hardin feels compelled to take action. They both migrate to this location and begin to have a happy relationship. They spend a lot of time together, savoring tiny moments and sharing joy. They begin going to different locations, making new memories together. Hardin is in amazement that Tessa is now his, feeling undeserving of her love. Tessa, on the other hand, is convinced that nothing will change her feelings for him. They later attend the wedding reception of Hardin and Landon's parents. Tessa and Hardin have a chance to meet Landon's mother, Karen, and father. Both parents are overjoyed to meet Tessa. However, Hardin becomes upset. Tessa does her utmost to calm him down and offer assistance. As the evening develops, Hardin's father approaches the stage and delivers a speech in front of all the guests. Even though Hardin's father is complimenting him, Hardin tells Tessa that the man standing before them is not the father he grew up with. Although Hardin's father has changed, many aspects of his personality have stayed consistent. He goes on to narrate an incident in which his father got into trouble with the wrong people in a pub. When these folks sought vengeance by coming to their home, his father was powerless to stop them from marrying. Hardin's father, who is now in a relationship with his mother, claims that Tessa and Hardin are together. Hardin and his father are currently in a relationship. They dance together, their eyes locked, and ultimately end themselves in a quiet area where Tessa decides to create a romantic environment. Molly becomes envious of Tessa and inquires about her relationship. Molly is curious to hear more about Hardin, but Tessa prefers not to reveal too many facts. Later, Molly sends a text message to Hardin's phone, raising Tessa's concerns about him. When she confronts Hardin and asks him what he might be concealing, he tells her that she can trust him and insists that there is nothing to hide. Despite her anxiety, Tessa anxiously awaits Hardin's call. Tessa receives a text from a friend encouraging her to meet at Videodrome to discuss Hardin. She gets into a car and finds Jace waiting for her. Jace tells Tessa that Hardin might be at Blind Bob's. At Blind Bob's, Tessa meets Steph and her companions. Tessa opens out and explains that she had been living with Hardin off campus. Molly indicates that something is going on, but she does not go into detail. Instead, she shows Tessa a video from the first time they played Truth or Dare. Hardin was dared to make Tessa fall in love with him, just to break her heart. Tessa is astonished and hurt by this news. Hardin claims that it is not true and that his feelings for her are genuine. However, Tessa chooses to depart and not waste any more time. She feels quite lonely and returns home, where she finds solace in cuddling her mother. Tessa chooses not to reveal the complete truth about what happened, but she does apologize to her mother. She confesses her love and walks away to meet Noah, who is intrigued by her presence. Tessa says that she never meant to hurt him. She accepts her love and walks away to meet her, and they both laugh. Tessa returns to university and starts writing an email to change her degree from economics to English. Meanwhile, Hardin is unable to move on from their split and finds himself in tears as he recalls the times they shared. Tessa, on the other hand, is invited to an interview at Advanced Publishing for an internship position. While sitting in a lecture, her teacher offers her an envelope, stating that it was given to her by Hardin and that it is intended for Tessa rather than anybody else. Tessa opens the envelope and sees that Hardin has been doodling sketches of her in his notepad. Tessa also reads a letter from Hardin, in which he admits that he used to think love was only a myth until he found her, his own Elizabeth Bennet. He describes how she has entirely consumed him and how he wishes to hold her hand and be carried out of the darkness. He begs for forgiveness and confesses that she is the person he loves most in the world.